All right, and we're back with another episode, and joining me today, Justine Lynn. How's it going?
It's going great. How you doing, Cody?
I'm doing fantastic. I've had my coffee this morning. I'm ready to go.
Ready to take on the world.
Ready to take on the world. Um, so for starters, those who may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from.
Yeah, I'd love to. Justine Lynn, obviously. Hello. I am a BC, specifically Vancouver country singer, originally born and raised in South Africa, which is always fun for people. They find that really exciting, which I guess it is if you're not from South Africa. Moved to Canada when I was 14. Didn't grow up on country music. I grew up on, there's not a lot of country music in South Africa, if I'm being honest. So I grew up on the blues, old school Motown, like Aretha Franklin, that kind of era of stuff. Moved to Canada, and in high school heard God Bless the Broken Road by the Rascal Flatts. And there was just something about that song. I don't know if it's the harmony, the melody is quite like, it's soothing as well. And it kind of took a hold of my heart. And from there, country music kind of became a bit of an obsession. And here we are, many years later. I won't say how many, but many years later. Exactly, right? Yeah, now we're just, doing some country music stuff over here. I find the transition from blues to country is so natural because blues comes from country. I mean, country comes from blues, right? Like it's all derived from the same place, and blues gave us so many different genres, but it's all about, country music is all about telling a great story. And I find that that's what blues did for many, many years and still does to this day. So the transition to me was very, very smooth and simplistic, and it just kind of made sense.
Right, makes sense. Okay, and so hearing Rascal Flatts there,
Yeah.
was that the moment? So you grew up on blues music. What was the moment that you wanted to pursue music?
Ooh, great question. 4 years old.
Okay.
Like I've always wanted to be a singer. I was that kid, like when I grow up, I want to be a famous singer kind of thing. And then throughout high school, same thing. I was just in, all the music classes, all the choir programs, all the anything related to music. And then out of high school, I went, did my post-secondary in music as well. And then here we are today.
Okay, so it's always been a thing.
Yeah.
Always been a thing. Okay.
Cody, I'm sorry, really sorry, but my computer just unplugged, so I'm just going to plug it back in quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Online.
I know, right? About this. There you go. Sorry, guys.
No worries. So for someone who hasn't heard your music before, how would you describe your sound? I know you said you're a country singer.
Yeah. That's a good question. How would I describe my sound? A lot of people tell me I sound a lot like Wyanna Judd.
Yeah.
I tend to lean towards like the big voices, so the Carrie Underwoods, the Maren Morrises, like just that big sound is kind of where I like my music to go. Not to compare myself to some of the greats, but that's kind of the thing I like, is that strong female ballady kind of big voice is kind of where I think a lot of my music sits.
Okay, fair enough. And
Yeah.
let's talk influences. Do you have specific influences, one for songwriting and one for just performing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a lot. I mean, like there's so many artists, right? You're influenced so much throughout your life. A lot of the times without even knowing it's happening. I think a lot of my sound comes from my upbringing. So they're like growing up on traditional South African music. It's a very, for the female side at least, it's a very, same thing, strong, powerful female part. And I think my performance comes from that too. For anybody that's ever traveled to South Africa or seen any famous South African musicians, we like to put on a show. So it's big and it's full of life and it's vibrant. And that's something I really like to bring into my performing when we're not in COVID, is just to have fun, right? And to be authentic and to just give people like a real sense of who you are. Songwriting, the influences, I mean, I love, for anybody that knows Canadian country music, Tennille Townes, I think is absolutely incredible. Maren Morris, Ashley McBride, Dolly Parton. I mean, Dolly Parton is the bee's knees when it comes to country music for a female artist. So I seem to lean towards, especially for songwriting, the storytellers. So not necessarily, just the jam that repeats the same line over and over again, but is a good song. I really like when it like really digs into that heartfelt story that kind of gets to me.
Okay, fair enough. All
Yeah.
right. What has been the best advice that you've been given in your career that you still follow to today?
Yeah. Stay true to yourself. So, I mean, this is a hard industry. It's very hard when you're independent as well. And there is nobody you can do better than who you are. So just stick to who you are and, keep chugging along. And people, especially nowadays in social media, people see the sincerity and they see the authenticity and they can see through a lot of the facade that people put on. And so I think just sticking to who you are and just, following that is the best thing that somebody ever told me.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. There's
Absolutely.
nobody else you can be. I mean, you can try, but it's probably not going to go very well.
Right? I agree with that. Okay. Okay, let's talk about your new single, I'll Leave the Porch Light On.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Tell us a little bit about it and how it all came together.
Yeah, of course. So this was a co-write with Anthony Fiddler and Ryan Lindsay. Ryan is from your side of the world, Cody. He's from Alberta, and Anthony is here in BC. I've written with these two guys before, but when we were sitting down to write this song, I really wanted to write like a classic, sad country ballad, like a little bit of a 6/8, like just that classic twangy ballad. I really wanted that, and I think it was Ryan who came with this idea of leaving the porch light on, and how it's not only can we make it a sad song, but there's something so like classic country about, like a porch, and that idea of like the romance gone awry, and I'll leave the porch light on. Like it kind of intertwined the visual aspect with the melody as well. And that's how the song came to be. And I think it was a couple of years ago we wrote it, and there's always those songs that kind of stick with you after a write and they don't really go anywhere. And that was Porch Light for me. And I'd done it a couple of times through COVID on like live streams and stuff, and people always seem to connect with it and seem to ask for it. So you got to follow what the people want, right? And so if they liked it, that's what we were going to do. And yeah, we've released it. I think it's been 6 weeks or so, and so far people seem to be liking it. So that's
Awesome.
good.
It sounds great. I know when I heard it there, I was like, I'd love to have her on here.
Oh, thanks, Cody.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
absolutely. Yeah, Ryan's a good friend of mine, so that's
Oh, wait, really?
yeah, absolutely.
He is a classy dude. I just love him so much. Like I love Ryan because he's my kind of person. He's just like always smiling. He's so happy. Like he comes in and he just brings this energy, and you're just like,
Energy, right?
yeah, I just want to take you and like put you in my back pocket and just keep you around all day.
Right. What is your favorite thing about co-writing?
Oh, my favorite thing about co-writing is the direction a song can take without you knowing it.
Oh,
So there's so many times that I'll go into a co-write with an idea or a melodic line or just a lyric or something, and the song can go a completely different direction. And usually for me, I found in my experience, it ends up so much better than what you had started with. Just having multiple people in there brings such a different perspective. And I find too, for me as the vocalist releasing songs, like co-writing with different people just brings different sounds to your songs as well. So it has the listener on their toes. Not everything sounds the same. It just kind of keeps a bit of a new feel to some of the stuff that you're releasing.
for sure. And where do you find most of your inspiration from?
Real world,
Really?
100%. Yeah, I'm that person that it'll be a line that somebody says when we're out and about, and I'm like, that's a good country song, or like there's something that's upset me and I just need to get that out, or it's typically from my own experience or people around me that I pull the ideas from, for sure.
Okay, and what is the weirdest, most awkward way you've ever come up with a song? Have you had a moment? You laugh, it feels like I feel like there's a moment here.
No, I mean, I mean, I think in any moment that you were like, that could be a song is weird. Do you know
Okay.
what I mean? Like the first single I ever released was called Back to the Highway. And excuse me, I was driving with my partner and we were lost in BC. And he said, I just want to get back to the highway. And there were a few more F bombs in there, if I'm being completely honest. But it was just like, I was like, oh, that could be a song. And it's weird to think that from that moment and that frustration and, you know, like us just getting so annoyed that a song came out of that. Like, I mean, it's just the whole process of songwriting is kind of weird where it comes from, you know, it just bounces in there. Like,
That's fair. Yeah. Any moment can be put into a song almost.
I mean, I actually, one of my other singles was called Real World Princess. It's an old one, but that one was actually from my love of Disney movies. I'm obsessed with Disney movies. I think they're like the bee's knees. But as I got older, I noticed that old school Disney specifically has like a very bad, it can be very disruptive for young girls to grow up with. So this mentality of, you know, I mean, Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, Snow White, they're all these beautiful women that look perfect, that sing in key all the time, and the guy comes to save the day. And that's really bad for a young girl to grow up on. And Real World Princess actually came from that idea of like, you know, I'm a bit of a sailor I swear a lot, I drink beer. Like it was this idea that I didn't become one of these perfect little princesses. And so that was probably one of the ones. It wasn't an odd place where it came from, but it was one of those songs that had obviously brewed in me for 20 years and just kind of needed to be let out, you know?
For sure. Okay. Do you have plans for a music video for your new single?
Not for this one, but I think we will definitely for the next one. So we're planning on doing some new music come the spring. For those in the music industry, this kind of time of year moving into Christmas kind of slows down a bit. Everyone takes a bit of a breather. So I think for the next one, we'll do a little bit of a video because I've never done one before. So it'd be fun to do one.
Okay, very cool. Do we have shows lined up people can look forward to?
I wish.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a couple and then things changed a little bit in BC. So they were taken away again. So as of right now, no. And of course, leading into the quiet time, it's no. So we have some stuff lined up for next year and hopefully everything goes well and those will stick around for me because it's been a while.
I can't keep up with the world anymore.
Like that's the thing. Like I get these emails from some of the places and I feel for them, right? They're like, sorry, like it's off again. And then like 2 weeks later, like, oh, no, just kidding. Like,
I know it's so bad. And then you got the people out there. I mean, I experienced this. You post something and they just attack.
yeah, 100%.
Attack. And I'm just like, like,
we're all trying our best here.
yeah, like, hey, like,
yeah,
leave us alone. Just leave us alone. We're all trying to make a living here. Leave us alone.
Absolutely. And like just have a bit of sanity, right? Like the part of music I love the most is performing. And I like the one thing you love the most is gone for 2 years, that takes a toll on a person. Like
Absolutely.
you know, so
Yeah.
we'll get there.
All right. What's next for you? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, next we'll just keep chugging. Next single, I'm thinking around April 20. What year are we in now? 2022.
Yeah.
April 2022 will be the next single. Yeah, just hoping Porch keeps doing well and people keep liking it and streaming it and downloading it. So if you're watching, please do. It would mean the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, and then we'll just, you know how it isn't. I mean, for us musicians, you release a song and you've already moved on to the next one kind of thing. And you know what I mean? You spend so long warming up to it. And then once it's out in the world, you just on to the next thing. So for now, it's just working on for the next single.
Perfect. All right, Justine, last thing, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Cody. I'm actually Justine Lynn Music is most of my handles. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of them. And then my website is justinelynn.com as well. So any of those, I'd love to hear from anybody.
Perfect. All right, guys, go grab her newest single. I'll leave the porch light on. And Justine, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Cody. This is great.
Absolutely. And yeah, stay in touch. We'll talk soon.
Like, thanks, guys.
All right, take care.
You too.